Hey guys, this is Tim Fraser from Forsys, and I'm here to share some of my thoughts and some of my research that I've discovered some very, very important information related to the International Women's Day. Obviously the theme for 2021 is Choose to Challenge, and I will put this challenge out there for both men and women who are listening to this video, both at Forsys and anywhere else, about the changes that are occurring in the landscape of gender intelligence. And I bring this new word. Maybe it's new to you. Maybe you've already heard about it. There's several books and also websites that are available online, and I'll make those resources available. But today I wanted to bring the highlight of gender intelligence and what's going on in this space. So I will do a little reading and note review as I go through this, but it's important you can also read the detailed articles that I will reference here. Okay, let's talk about gender intelligence. So in the past, we've operated in two fundamental beliefs. The first is that the gender balance representation should be achieved by business, government, education in order to achieve their goal. It requires viewing both genders as identical on the inside. The reach for equal representation has been tangible and a worthy demonstration of its search for gender equality. But to be sure, however, we have found that equalizing numbers doesn't necessarily result in gender balance. Similarly, treating everyone the same would appear to eradicate bias, but it doesn't result in gender equality. What if the solution isn't eliminating the differences between men and women themselves, but instead learning how to recognize, value, and leverage those differences? Valuing gender differences is a core principle of gender intelligence services, and these are books available online as well. The paradigm shift in thinking how that finally cracks the code on gender equality. So there's a theme I think that's we always think about people who are smart in business and progress and grow. It's because they're intelligent or because of the gender. But there's a new term, gender, basically the IQ, intelligent quotient, versus the EQ, the emotional quotient. And I strongly believe that the emotional quotient has as much to do, if not more, in terms of progression up the food chain, and no matter whether you're male or female. And this is very much important for the supporting the feminine inequalities that exist in the workplace, especially in the core IT business that we are in. Gender intelligence services focus on the understanding of the appreciation of naturally occurring characteristics that distinguishes men and women beyond the obvious biological and cultural, to include additional and behavioral differences. Once we are aware of how and why men and women think and act as they do, we can begin to understand gender-related tendencies. Even our own, we can engage more effectively in our workplace, and also in many areas of our life. So this is really not just about work; it's about our personal relationships as well. So I'm going to go through a little bit more detail, some key highlights on the gender intelligence that really resonate for me. There's a lot more here, and I would recommend that each of you who are reviewing this video, take the extra effort to read a 10, 12-page article. So basically, here's the business, the commercial aspect of this for businesses who are growing like Forsys. Gender intelligence and handling this in a emotional quotient way as opposed to intellectual quotient way, or just adding to the numbers. Handling it in a way that allows the business to not only create the space for the people to grow and complement each other, but really is about the bottom line. There are a lot of progressive companies in the U.S. and around the world are embracing the whole idea of handling gender intelligence as a core competency in their leadership and their values, which drives companies to have higher profitability at the bottom line. This is not just about equality and balance and all the things we associate with a gender intelligence, but it is absolutely about at the business level is about having profitable businesses, being attractive businesses, both for the commercial side of things as well as for the employment side of things. So it's very important to look at it from that perspective as a leader in an organization. So I'll read a few highlights of the segments that I think I want to talk about. So what is adding the momentum to this new conversation are on gender are dynamic shifts in thinking, the moments of discovery that we can call breakthrough insights. Leaders and their organizations are realizing that they must overcome the gender diverse to become more gender diverse, becoming gender intelligent, because it is required and fair thing to do, but it also makes economic sense, and it is therefore crucial for the businesses and the organization to grow. So the transformation starts, we always think change comes from the top down and leadership, but it's not always the case. When change rests solely on the shoulders of HR, leaders, and middle managers, they tend to perceive gender diversity as a mandated exercise, disconnected from the key strategies of the organization and therefore unproductive. Alternatively, we've seen that from the lens of gender intelligence, companies' leadership realizes that true diversity, especially derived from difference thinking, is strategic to the nature of the business. Numbers alone don't advance the organization. The prevailing belief in many organizations is that the company achieves greater gender balance through low and middle levels, then everything will takes care of itself up. This will naturally expand into the talent pool for women, and they will rise to the top, and it will ultimately make the company more competitive. So the belief goes on. But changing the numbers alone doesn't change the conversation. All it changes is the balance of representation of women to men with the same male paradigm. We must change the paradigm. So I speak to this really as a male speaking on International Women's Day as a call out to and a call to action to men in the organization, men in the lives of the workplace as well as your home, to really bring your emotional quotient to the table. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can make an actual difference and how you handle things and on how you represent your language around your workplace and creating a space for balancing not the equality, but the diversity in our male and feminine, the way we operate, okay? So it's very difficult for organizations and leaders to see to the degree of the competencies on which advancement is based on a male model. A woman may have the same level of ability and express the same competency, but it's not familiar. But it's not in a familiar way. The male way, which is the familiar way in traditional companies, her evaluations and her advancements may suffer as a result. So it's really about how do we interpret that, and whether we're hearing as males or as the leaders in the organization the language that we're hearing from the male or female to create an understanding that the diversity and the languaging is not the barrier. Okay. So company leaderships need to understand how male-dominated thinking may color how women in the organization are scored in their equal, everybody is equal system. This isn't about everybody is equal. This is about creating the space for maximizing the synergies of diversity together. Consider the subject of expression as those of competencies, and look for that in the talent pipeline. So there's lots of science here. I'm not going to go over all the topics. I want to highlight a few things that really resonate to my heart. It's not about women. It's not just about women. The business landscape has changed dramatically in the past 2 decades, but there have been shifts, but not only in the composition of the workforce, but also in the customer base. It's not just about women, but rather about business, how business operates, and how we move successfully in the future. Our approach, and this is the genderintelligence.com website. Our intelligence to gender intelligence doesn't focus on gender to the exclusion of other diversity issues. It does place purpose and significance on leading the gender we believe we have seen that leading with gender intelligence can be a powerful domino effect and positively affect inclusiveness as a whole, which in turn accelerates diversity. My apologies, I'm having to read some of this. It's quite quite in depth. Successful people, successful business people, leaders, and educators, out of the fear of stereotyping, engaging discrimination, purposely ignore and discount the presence of any gender differences that characterize anyone who suggests otherwise. As a result, they lose their ability to discuss, explore, and take advantage of the gender differences hardwired into our brains. Guys, this is just like a relationship at home. If you have a husband-wife relationship or a partner relationship at your home, having the ability to understand and see things from a feminine and male perspective, male energy, feminine energy perspective, is really a key part of this, because they are absolute strengths in how we each look at a problem, how we each contribute to a system. And this is a major part of this. You know, we've all read the book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And that creates a lot of polarity, and it makes it sound like, you know, you will never reach the happy ground. The truth is, we must revel in the overlap of our abilities, and where we have blind spots from each other, drive that through the scientific aspects of all the studies been done, that how men and women complement each other, which is really part of building a relationship in life and also in a workplace. So let's talk about complementing. When men and women understand the nature of their gender differences, their lens broadens. They gain higher appreciation for each other's behavior and learn more about their own. Gender intelligence exposes and eliminates our blind spots. God, that's our biggest challenge. We think we know everything. We don't have the perspective. It lifts us to a new level of conversation and encourages us to include and work with each other more productively, not by expecting each other to think and behave the same, but rather by finding and valuing and complementing our differences. So I want to stop at this place. This is only a partial list of what I call breakthrough thinking insights. I'd like to encourage you all to go to genderintelligence.com. There's also a book that has been written that I think I would highly recommend. There's a lot of these are complementary. Let me see if I can pull that up. My apologies. I should have had this ready. I use Audible, but it's also on Amazon. It's also called Gender Intelligence. It is a book by Barbara Annis, A-N-N-I-S, and Keith Merrow, M-E-R-R-O-N. So look that up on Amazon. It's on Kindle as well as print format. Gender Intelligence. This is probably a breakthrough book. It's been written, not too long ago. It's relatively new in the last 10 years. And I would highly recommend some reading if you want to explore and see how you as an individual can change. At the end of the day, don't expect anybody to make changes for you in your environment. You really have to look at how is it that you are going to change, and how are you going to make your thinking different, overcome, persevere the challenges that exist in the workplace. It is not a completely financial and economical and socially balanced workplace yet. We aspire to that. I, as a male in a workplace, I've learned how to embrace my emotional quotient, understand how to address individual challenges that we faced in terms of understanding the male and the female differences in a workplace. I think on another video you might see me talk a little bit about that, but I'd like to encourage people to read this book. So on that note, thank you very much for just persisting with the little bit of the reading of the article, because I want to make sure I cover the key points. My personal journey has been one of also supporting the workplace between men and women, encouraging for the not just equality, for absolutely maximizing the differences between us, so we can see things where our blind spots are, and the other party, male or female, can complement you. So think of this journey as a complementary journey. This is not on the shoulders of HR or women or top-down organization changing things. I challenge you, choose to challenge. I challenge you to wake up every day and think of the gender gap and the gender intelligence as a foundation of how you increase your tools in your arsenal and do something different. So you can catch yourself in your language, catch yourself in your words, catch yourself in when you're looking at somebody or speaking something, catch yourself when you're writing, building digital artwork like what's behind me. Is there enough gender representation in that? There's lots of subtle ways to communicate the support that we're a balanced team and we have the power of the workforce coming together. So on that note, I appreciate the time and thank you very much for listening.